Hey, thanks for joining me today for this practice. We are going to be looking at how to help you feel a little bit better, a little bit more energetic on days when fatigue is really hitting you hard. So, a couple of kind of points that I'm going to be weaving into practice that you might want to keep in mind yourself are that when you're feeling fatigued, it's good to start where you're at. So, we are going to start out lying down. We're going to start out on our back and just do really kind of subtle, gentle things. Another thing to think about is to slightly increase the length of your inhale. We're never going to make it longer than our exhale. You'll see how we do this in practice. We're just going to slightly increase it and keep it the same as our exhale. We might even add a little retention in after the inhale, which is going to have an slightly energizing effect, helping us kind of overcome that feeling of fatigue. So we're going to use gentle movement and breath to help us feel a little more energized. So I think the only prop you might need would be possibly a yoga strap. You may or may not need it. A scarf or a belt works great too. Let's go ahead and head back toward our yoga mat. And as I said, we'll be starting out lying down on our back. So you can meet me there. All right. So as we kind of come on to our back today, you can have your knees bent to start or take your legs long. Go ahead and place one hand at your belly and one hand at your heart. Might be a nice moment just to kind of bring in some feelings of compassion, just some feelings, kind of notice any judging and just try to release that. Be kind to yourself as we move through today. All right. We're going to do just a real gentle thing. And again, feet could be on the floor, knees bent to start here, or you could have legs long for this first one. What we're going to do is breathe in, and I'm just going to really stretch one of my hands open. So just resting down alongside me, I'm just going to really stretch one hand open when I inhale and let it soften, just kind of release when I exhale. So we're going to do other hand now, kind of stretch it open. You can let it rest down. I'm just kind of lifting it up to show you. Really stretch the fingers open when you breathe in. Soften, release the hand when you breathe out. So keep alternating sides, each breath in. Stretching the fingers wide, each breath out. Letting the hand relax. And now we're going to just keep alternating hands here. I'm going to have us bring in a little count on the breath now too. So each inhale, let's breathe in for 3 and out for 3. Do one more, 3 in, 3 out. Go ahead and go up to 4 counts in. As you stretch the hand on the inhale, exhale, soften the hand, breathe out for 4. One more here, 4 counts in, 4 counts out. Do one more round where we go up to 5 counts in and breathe out for 5 too. Do each hand and breathe out. All right, this next section, I'm going to have you take your legs long now, as long as this feels comfortable. And we're going to start to add in just a little flex of the ankle. We can stick with about 4 or 5 counts in and about 4 or 5 counts out. So you're going to next kind of few inhales, we're going to actually lift our arm overhead and flex opposite ankle. So I got my right arm and my left ankle. Right arm going overhead, left ankle flex. Lower the arm, let the foot relax when you breathe out. And then I'm going to take my left arm up and over as I flex my right ankle and relax as I exhale. So again, you can be breathing at about 4 to 5 counts in, 4 to 5 counts out. We're just looking to smoothly connect movement and breath, opposite sides of the body working a little bit here too, which is actually a principle that can kind of help us increase focus and attention as well. Now, perhaps you want to bump up just a little bit here. If you feel like 4 or 5 counts is really comfortable, you can try to kind of bump up to a 5 or 6 count here, these next couple. So you're going to keep inhales and exhales the same though. Breathing in for 5 or 6. Breathing out for 5 or 6. Keep going opposite sides. Okay, now for a few rounds, we're going to take both arms overhead as you flex both ankles on the inhale. As you exhale, arms are going to lower, feet are going to relax, ankles relax. So a couple more here. And you can stick with your kind of highest count so far. So 5 or 6 in, 5 or 6 out with the breath. We don't want to over breathe. If you feel like you're getting short of breath, you might want to drop it back a count. That's just a sign that you might be pushing the breath a little. We don't want to push it, but we want to just see if we can slightly increase the length of the inhale and keep the exhale the same. Okay, let's let everything rest down here now. Might just kind of let the head rock side to side. Take a moment to notice. We can bring our feet back to the ground here. And with the knees bent, I'm going to take my arms wide and just let my knees start to windshield wiper side to side here. So I'm just going to let them, it can be a big or a small kind of movement here for the knees, but just letting them rock side to side. Now, if you've got your strap close by, this is the one where you might want it. You think you're going to need it. It's generally if you have tight hamstrings. If the back of your legs is real tight, you're going to want a strap. And you may not need it otherwise. So what we'll do here is on an exhale, I'm going to have the strap wrapped around my right foot if I'm using it, right knee toward my chest here as I exhale. As I inhale, I'm going to lengthen my right leg up toward the ceiling. As I exhale, bend my knee toward my chest. Inhale, lengthen the leg up. And now the breathing is a huge part of what's going to help us energize. So don't underestimate the value here of kind of coming back to your count here, 4 or 5 on the inhale, 4 or 5 on the exhale. And then we're going to stay in the pose here for a few. So you can have your foot up toward the ceiling and take the breath up one more notch. So bumping it up to 5 counts in or 6, and the same on the out, 5 or 6 on the out. I really feel the rib cage expand out in all directions on that breath in. Let the belly soften on the breath out. Let's take one more. All right, let's release that leg down. It's nice just to take a second here. Notice the sensations in the right leg versus the left. This little pause is as important as the pose. There's a lot of neuroplastic changes that can happen in the brain when we pause and notice what's happening in the body. So just take a moment to notice. All right. right, and then other side. So hook your left foot if you're using the strap. We're going to exhale, bring the knee towards you. Inhale, lengthen that leg straight up and out. As you exhale, draw it towards you. Inhale up, and now the right leg, can be straight or bent. It's just whatever feels better for your sacrum. So 4 or 5 counts on your in and the same count on your out breath. We don't ever want inhales longer than exhales, but we want to just naturally increase our inhales a little bit. All right, next time you're in the inhale position, we're just gonna kind of stay here for a few breaths. You can try to bump up maybe just one, go up to a 5 count or a 6 count in and the same count out, 5 or 6 out. Feel the rib cage lift up and out on the breath in. And let the belly soften on the breath out. All right, let's release. Take that leg down. And we can have both feet on the floor here, knees bent. Let your arms rest at your sides. We'll just take a moment for a mindful pause. And then we're going to take a few rounds where we're going to lift the hips up here. So on the next inhale, I'm going to lift my hips up. And as I exhale, I'm going to lower. Go ahead and lift the hips up, press into the feet nice and even. Exhale, lower. So as I do this, I want to keep my knees somewhat tracking toward each other. Feel the inner and outer edges of my feet kind of feeling equal as I'm lifting and lowering the hips. One other kind of point just to guide you on is that the spine can be articulating. You can kind of notice one vertebra at a time, lifting and lowering. Or the spine can be kind of lifting as one plane, kind of like an elevator lifting and lowering, whatever feels better. Now I'm going to add in a little bit of an arm lift. I'm going to take my right arm up as my hips lift. I'm going to lower my right arm as my hips lower. I'm going to do it with my left now. Left arm up and over here as I lift my hips. As I lower, arm and hips go down. Now on the third round, we're going to do both arms up as the hips lift. And we're going to lower the arms and the hips. All right. We're going to do that 2 more times where we do one arm at a time. You can bring in that 4 or 5 counts in, 4 or 5 out. We'll do both arms together. And then we'll do the whole thing one more time. Both arms together. All right, lowering everything down. Take a second for that interoceptive pause. Just notice what's happening in the body. Any interesting sensations? And then we'll take one hug of the knees into the chest here, rocking side to side a little bit if you like. And as you're ready, then you can roll to your side and press up to seated. We're going to do a couple of seated things. You could be seated in a chair if that's more comfortable. You could even sit up on a cushion. and your version of a comfortable seat. So you can have legs crossed in, but if it feels more comfortable, I've taught a lot of classes where some folks like to have one leg out or both legs out. So just find a position that feels comfortable for yourself here. Okay, so seated here, we are just going to take a moment to notice how the rib cage is moving when we breathe in. And I want you to just structurally think these next few inhales about the rib cage kind of lifting up and out, kind of away from the hip as you breathe in. As you breathe out, you could just kind of soften, but maintain a little bit of what you found in terms of lift. So each inhale, kind of a lift up and out of the rib cage. Soften when you breathe out, okay? We're going to add in just a little bit of arms now along with that simple breathing. So keep the rib cage kind of lifting up and out on that in breath. Lower the arms, soften a little bit as you breathe out. All right, so we're going to breathe in for 4 here. And breathe out for 4. Go again. And you can go faster or slower than me. I'm just kind of guiding you through, but I want you to move at your breath pace. You can go up to a 5 count in here. 5 count out. Take a couple at 5. And now if 6 has been kind of working for you in some of the other poses, you could try to go up to a 6 count in and a 6 count out. Now, whatever your top count is, if 4 is the most comfortable, 5, 6, whatever it is, at the end of the inhale, we're now going to pause for 1 to 2 counts. And then you're going to lower for 4, 5, 6. Keep the exhales the same as the inhales. All right, here we go. It's your preferred count. It's 4, 5, or 6 up. Pause for 1 or 2 with the breath in. Lower on the exhale. Keeping that ribs kind of up and out, expansion in mind too. Little pause at the top. Do one more with that little pause at the top. Now we are going to take arms up. And on your exhale, I'm going to take just a little side bend. Just go one side. Arm down. Reach through the side body. Inhale back up. Exhale, little side bend. Inhale up. Just going to keep taking a little exhale. Really feel it through the side body as you exhale and stretch. You can be sticking with your preferred count of like 4, 5, or 6 on the in. Everybody's a little different. I want you to kind of pick what feels comfortable. All right, next inhale, arms up. Let's just exhale, float them down. And just take a second to see how you're feeling. And the key when we're working with fatigue here is not to overdo it either. So if as you move through coming to seated felt almost too intense, that's okay. Maybe next time you do this practice, just do the first 8 minutes, and build up, right? We don't want to overdo or end up exhausting ourselves with movement. That's why we're just really kind of gradually moving through. And now I just want to do this nice short practice for you today that will kind of help you hopefully feel a little bit more energetic. You might use this to transition to a standing class, though. If you feel as though you've now got the energy to do more movement, I'd encourage you to, continue moving, but not to overdo it still, right? But just in an effort to keep things short and sweet for us today. We are going to bring our hands right to our rib cage here and close this practice. Just notice any little shifts in your nervous system. If you're feeling slightly more energy than when you began, if you're ready for a nap, that's okay. You can certainly lay down and take a little rest here. The breathing that we did doesn't lend itself as well to sleep. So I'm hopeful that you feel as though just a little more energy. But what we'll do too is just take another couple of moments to feel the rib cage kind of expand up and outward. Breathing into that 4, 5, or 6. Soften the belly here, 4, 5, or 6. Keeping the in and the out the same length. And for most of us, our exhales are usually a little longer. So just lengthening the inhale to be the same as the exhale is generally lengthening the inhale quite a bit. We'll bring our hands together at our heart here. Take a moment just to look within. Thank you so much for trying this short practice with me today to improve and alleviate fatigue. I hope you enjoyed it. Namaste. Great day.